What is going on, collectors? Optical 20 back for another video review. Today we're gonna take a look at Thor Love and Thunder Thor Deluxe version, and you can order this at bigbadtoystore.com. I'll put the link down below. Two versions is actually available for shipping now, so if you don't want the deluxe, I don't know why you wouldn't want the deluxe, you can get the regular version. And I know I'm gonna start it off right now. This movie is not well received, and I understood that before even getting this figure, but I need a Thor. I traded in my Thor from Infinity War to get that beautiful in our Joker. So I needed a proper Thor, and this is you got two options in the market right now between this and Endgame, which I already have Endgame, but I always felt that that wasn't the Thor. So I was just like, you know what, let me get this one because it looks really good. You know, I'm willing to look past the movie and get a proper Thor in my collection, because like I said, Infinity War, and that's a bit dated as well. So I wanted to take a crack at this, and spoiler alert, you might not like the movie, but this figure is very beautiful. And initial thought was that this is too bright. Getting it in hand, it doesn't feel that way. Sure, it's a different kind of vibe coming from Infinity War, which is predominantly, just a black suit with a hint of red in it. But I like it. I like it a lot. And I got the deluxe version. I've been wanting like a helmeted Thor for a long time now, because that's Thor. And you can see there's a light up function in here too, and there's a lot of elements in the deluxe version that just encouraged me to pick him up, because you can alter the look completely within the deluxe version. There's a lot of good things figure wise in this Thor. If you could look past the movie and just look at him as Thor. And I know that's not always the way to go. I mean, if this is going to be a constant reminder for you of how you did not like the movie, then by all means, please do not get this. You're just going to torture yourself. I actually rewatched the movie in preparation for reviewing this. And first and foremost, I want to say Christian Bale was amazing. Now I kind of regret not picking up Gore. So again, I rewatched it. There's certain parts where you'll be like, what? But for the most part, it's all right. I'll probably forget about it, kind of like how I forgot about it the first time viewing it. So I rewatched it again. It's not as bad. I would say the third time around. This is the third time I'm watching it. Yeah, I got past two. But it's not too bad. But the figure itself is really, really good. As you can see here, it does come with the dynamic pole, and you can see all the effects on the second tray. But let's take a closer look at the accessories here. Different array of hands, which I like. These are the gestures where, I don't know, maybe he's calling for Stormbreaker or Mjolnir or whatever the case may be, or he's just putting a different hand out to call maybe the thunder, the lightning bolt. I don't know, but I love the gesture hands by Thor. It's very nice as well, kind of like the glove continuation with a gauntlet there, and then you get a bunch of these effects on him, which to some people they find it a bit toyish. For me, once you combine this with the LED light that's in his body and that luminous effect, I love it. I mean, if you don't really like it, you don't have to put it on your figure. That is the beauty of it. And then you got Stormbreaker. Now, anyone who had Endgame Thor already is familiar with Stormbreaker and how you insert this, effects, which I also do like. The only thing is that it would weigh it down. Like, it'll become heavy that to a point where he can't really lift it up. And this is Stormbreaker when it's fully decked out. You have all the effects attached to it. and it becomes really heavy. It looks good. I mean, you light it up, and then you do your UV light on it. It looks phenomenal. However, you're also covering the amazing paint application once you light it up, because it's so much better when it's lit up without those effects in hand. Now, moving forward here, this is kind of like the deluxe version, although you would get this lightning from Zeus, even if you did not get the deluxe version. This is pretty cool because he used this towards the end of the movie. Spoiler alert, this movie moved out for like 2 years now, so you can separate this as well. I also like the like the effects surrounding the lightning as well. I mean the thunder, the lightning, it's beautiful. And then you could also interchange his front armor to something a bit more vibrant, as if he isn't vibrant enough already, but it matches well with a helmet. And then you can see he only wore this, and this is a perfect example of deluxe, where if you don't care about that specific scene in the movie, you don't really need to, because he didn't do this look again outside of the village in when they're trying to save it. However, I still love the look, even though it just screams a different kind of Thor. And we're gonna take a closer look on the head sculpt later on. But you also get a golden sleeved version of his arms outside of what he already has, a sleeveless version. That's why I love this, because you can pretty much display him in a different Thor if you really want to. And then you get the hexagonal base Thor Love and Thunder. But we'll take a closer look at the tailoring of this figure. The biggest takeaway right off the bat, as you can see, is the colors. It is vibrant, it's loud, it's in your face. Not a big fan of that, but again, this is I would say the definitive Thor that's out in the market right now. I don't really want to go back. I've had those Thors, they're a bit dated, and I mean Age of Ultron, the second Thor. I just traded in, like I said, the Infinity War version. I do love this sleeve, by the way. This is one of the and look at that, you can see the muscle definition, you can see the horseshoe on his triceps, and you can see on his delts as well. You can see those muscle definition, and it just looks and feels different. Not those rubbery shiny arms that he had in Infinity War. This is softer, has more texture on it. It's just plain beautiful. The gold accent with the bright blue with the dark blue on it, it looks great. It would pop on the shelf. As you can see, the cape is very good. It also has 4 wires in it. So I don't know if this is the first time we've gotten them. I think this is the first time we've gotten wire cape for Thor, and they're awesome. You can't remove the cape. I don't think he ever removed the cape as Thor. You could do that on Infinity War, and that was a good look as well. But this one, I don't know, you can have the cape flowing if you have the space for it, because of the wires attached to it, and it adds a different look into the figure, which I really love, because it makes it more dynamic, where you can have it it's like flowing in the wind or so. And you can see his arms once again, very beautiful. Like the way the light, that's why I turn off the lights, so you could see, because with the lights blasting on it, you don't really appreciate the details, the muscular tendencies on those arms. And again, the color in here is just bright and beautiful. Pleather pants though. So let's take a look at the head sculpt here. It's I like it was hard trying to get a photo of him it doesn't have movable eyes, but the texture, as you can see here, probably the best Thor head sculpt to date. The hair has a lot of details on it as well. You can see the, individual like clumps and strands of hair which is in his face. So they, in my opinion, they really did a great job of sculpting this hair. There's a lot of details in here, a lot of moving parts to simulate a real hair. Do I see an artisan version of Thor coming in the future? I do hope so. If there's any figure that deserves an artisan version, because of how complex and what it would do to the figure if done right with the hair, would be Thor. Thor and Aquaman, the Jason Momoa one. Those two figures does deserve an artisan. Are they gonna sell? That one I don't know. But from a figure standpoint, I think they should be done. You see those little braids on, behind his ear. There's very soft rubber, so you can kind of position them. Also the hair that is kind of draping in front of his shoulders, they're very soft as well. So you could move the neck around, but there's no denying that because they do exist, there is some limitations of how far, let's say, the head sculpt can look down. But as far as skin texture, you can see like on his forehead, the wrinkles on there, the scar on his eye, just the pores as well. And look at those eyes when you put in the UV on it. And you just gotta get the right UV light so it doesn't make the face purple. There's a specific type, and as you can see here, it doesn't need to be blasting in his face as well. Just kind of grace it by, and I love that effect. I hope they do that more. You just need to have the right UV, by the way. And this is the helmeted version from the Deluxe. I love this part as well. And this is a magnetic head sculpt, so you don't have to wrestle your way in and out. Whenever you choose to, you can just pop it up very easily. It is attached via magnet, so depending on your mood, you don't have to wrestle a head sculpt just to replace it. The helmet itself is gold and blue, shiny. I think it looks great with a light of function, and I've heard it before. I wish this was connected to the USB-C on the back, so you don't need a separate battery. I get that, but hey, it's via battery operated. I'm not even mad about it. I totally understand. The lights are just white out on it. So what are you gonna do is you can see the neck is again magnetic, or like DX19. And here he is with the light lit up on his eyes. It is extremely bright. It is bright. So photography wise, he would look fantastic. And I'm gonna close the light so you can kind of see how bright we're looking at here. And it looks great. Is this a good stand-in for the helmeted Thor that we've been waiting for? I don't know. But you also have this lightning effects, as you can see here, that you can insert in the eye. Again, they're not necessary, but if I'm already dressing up the entire body in this effects, why not, right? And it's friction based, so you'll know which one is left and right. So you just kind of just push it in there, and then it'll attach. It won't fall off by itself, and the light still, you can still see the light bleeding through these effects. So it does look beautiful. You got this sense of, I don't know, just lightning coming all over, coming out of his eyes and whatnot. And as I was saying earlier with the hair, there's some limitations. Not too much, but there is. Looking up, especially that big chunk of hair in his back. But I am more than happy enough with the range of motion that we can get from his neck. And I'll take it out for now. You could not remove the cape. I wish you could, right? Like I wish you could. The bicep area, his arms, again, always as beautiful. And surprisingly, his elbows can bend pretty tight. That is a good range of motion out there. You can raise the arms sidewards. extremely high as well. You could move the hands forward until it hits, the shoulder pads. But without the shoulder pads, I'm pretty sure you can rotate the arms, going back to where it belonged. The legs can kick up. You just gotta make some adjustments. Bend the knees pretty tight as well. Got some ankle articulation here. Swivel on his thigh, of course, because this is a seamless arm. You don't get that swivel motion on the bicep area, but even at that, you can do a plethora of poses for this guy. And I just want to showcase here before we go to the pose session. This is completely different figure, as you can see here. Like, you altered the look to a degree where it looks like a second version. I forgot to change the chest plate, and if you do, the look would dramatically change here as well. So I like this option. Looks like you have two figure in one. And here he is. And look at the effects of that UV light. You just run it through and it looks like lightning is just creeping on it, and it's hitting his eye, giving that luminous effect that it turns blue. I'm not even aiming for the eye. And as you can see here, you can't see the purple light within him, even though I'm shining it on him. Look at that. And then the eyes. Beautiful. I love those effects. I really do. You get the right, I guess, light. I've tried this with Mysterio, and because I didn't have that. I had the normal UV light before, and you put that in, and you're gonna be like, man, who's gonna use this? You're gonna have purple on his face, where there's a different light where it doesn't emit that purple, as you can see there. And this is another Thor where, as you can see, his chest is completely lit up. I removed the helmet version and I put in the regular version. This is the downside because it has USB-C on his back. So my cable management here isn't the best. I wasn't even trying that hard. Now I found some thinner USB-C cord that maybe in the future I can kind of hide it. But it is bright and I love it. And as you can see here with his eyes, I am still using that UV light. I have so much fun with that. And here he is, kind of like all decked out. Again, minus the chest plate because I wasn't able to replace that. As soon as I just remembered it, I already took the shot. But here he is, wearing all those effects in his body, in his arm, and also with Mjolnir, who is at this point is not Mjolnir, Stormbreaker. It's extremely heavy for not his arms, his hands. Like, it almost feels like the peg is gonna break off. I'm exaggerating there, but here he is, looking pretty good, if I might add, and I love it. I love this figure. So my final thoughts in this Thor Love and Thunder, again, if you hate the movie all that much, I suggest you stay away from the figure. I wanted a Thor. I got a Thor, and then some. So from a figure standpoint, I'm recommending this figure. And I would even go as far as get the deluxe version, because for a little money, you could, we're talking about a head sculpt here, a light up head sculpt. And also those, like his arms as well. The fact that you can exchange it to a sleeve version, I think that's a must have. But again, if you have, and I have nothing from this line. I wish I did get Gore. I also love Mighty Thor. I'm thinking of getting that when she finally gets released here in the US, because as a figure, again, Mighty Thor looks phenomenal. The head sculpt looks great. Again, the movie, it didn't offend me as much as the others, so that might have helped in my decision. But at the end of the day, I just wanted a Thor. I wasn't overcomplicating things. I wanted the best Thor in the market right now, and so far, this is it. Are we gonna have a better Thor down the line? I hope so. Maybe the Thor from Avengers 1, an update of that, maybe an artisan version of that perhaps. But until then, I'm gonna have this as my representation of Thor, and I also still have the Endgame version as a representation of Thor in that, because that feels like a one-off Thor, because it is. But I gotta have that for the trilogy standpoint. You know, when you got Cap, him, and Iron Man, it just looks great. Can he be a stand-in in there? Maybe, but that Thor is really cheap right now, so if you haven't gotten one, I suggest you do, but I can't recommend this figure enough. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.